This is more, again, more of a process type question. And that is having someone dedicated to doing the setup and configuration and working with those individuals to know the ins and outs of the setup and understanding the workflow. And so when someone comes in and has a particular nuance to their product that they're using on the accounting side, that they're able to get that part set up, because it's a one-time event, really, and it's very specialized.
Welcome to the AI in Accounting podcast. Now, here's your host, Joshua Feinberg of Vic.ai.
So I am here with Pete Potsos of Bill.com, and we're talking about Bill.com best practices today for CPA firms and outsourced bookkeeping firms, outsourced and virtual CFO professionals, and basically how to get more value out of the platform. Thanks, Pete, so much for joining me today.
Oh, I'm glad to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Cool. So the first place I usually like to start in these interviews is to understand a little more about how you got where you are, your journey, what your role in your firm at Bill.com looks like. Can you give our viewers and listeners a little bit of background on yourself and how you fit into Bill.com?
Sure. Yeah. So my journey is I'm a recovering CPA. Used to practice in public accounting. Actually had a practice myself. I went to work a company called Thomson Reuters and helped firms with technology back going back to 2001, and then joined CPA.com, and we were working with them to build out firms that were just getting into virtual CFO, controller, business process outsourcing, all the different buzzwords there, and helping firms do that. And then two of the products that we represented one of them was Bill.com. And so got in early days with helping accounting firms use Bill.com as the way into a small business, and everyone has bills, and that's where you want to start. And did that, and then then at some point, Bill.com came to me and invited me to join their team, and I manage some of our key accounts. So work with firms that have hundreds and hundreds of clients using Bill.com, and they're doing outsourcing work for them. And then also help out with things like this in terms of advising firms on helping them build out their advisory practices, and hopefully using Bill.com to do that. So that's been my evolution or story to getting to Bill.com.
So you were like a Bill.com power user before you ever joined the company?
Yeah, actually, it's funny. I could demonstrate Bill.com on day one, and my biggest challenge was getting used to Gmail, because we used Gmail, and I was an Outlook guy. So I've since learned how to get through all that stuff. But yeah, so that's yes, you could say that for sure.
It's funny how it even where we are right now, that's still very much like people get really set on using the Microsoft suite or using the Google suite, or even just on their laptop, whether they're using Mac or Windows or iOS or Android. You still have this like Coke and Pepsi thing. It's just going on for so long.
Yeah, the biggest challenge what I love about G Suite is that it is cloud-based, and you can take advantage of all the integrations that work with other products that we use or tools that we use, just like Bill.com and QuickBooks Online and different things work together. You see that, and so I really like that. However, my biggest challenge is like everyone uses Bill.com for the subject line. So, when you nest conversations, they all come in together. I'm sure you have that same problem. Everyone types in Vic.ai to as the subject line. So that was really the biggest challenge for me.
But the one interesting thing is both brands are nice and short. So on a mobile device where you have scrolling happening about 35, 40 characters, and you still have a shot of being able to see a little bit of what's going on after that.
Yeah, for sure. Yep. Absolutely.
Cool. So the first place I'd like to start is to get your advice on what you would tell somebody that is brand new to Bill.com, that's just getting started. What's your favorite tip for a Bill.com beginner?
Yeah. So first of all, I encourage firms to get to know Bill.com and use it themselves in their business. So that's part of it. You've got your own bills to pay. You're going to get paid from your clients. So it's important to drink your own champagne, so to speak. And so that's like the first tip. Start using it. You're going to be suggesting this as a solution in your technology stack. And if you're not familiar with the ins and outs of it, then it's hard for you to recommend that they follow suit and do the same, right? So that's like tip number one, right? And then it's important that you have enough confidence when you're first starting out that this is my technology stack. I use Bill.com. I use Vic.ai. I use QuickBooks Online, whatever your tool is, and you stick to that, right? It's hard early on when you're in stage one of building an accounting practice, which is usually take any client with a heartbeat. That's usually the first stage. And, you're desperate. You're trying to pay the bills. But it's important to think about where you're going to be at, 5 years from now. Or I'll use a 10x, the concept of 10x is what would you do if you were 10 times bigger than where you're at today? So be very strategic about what tools you're going to use, and then make sure your clients use those and only accept clients that follow your processes. The analogy I use, if you're a pizza restaurant, you're going to get one type of pizza oven. You're not going to have 3 different types of pizza ovens. You're not going to have enough room in your restaurant for 3 different types of. It's either going to be a brick oven or it's going to be one of those, ones that you see at Domino's or whatever, right? So you got to pick your tools and stick to it, and get your clients in line with the processes that you're going to use in your practice. So that's usually a conversation that we usually have with new firms, and over the years is getting them to follow your process.
So first and foremost, use it yourself internally so you're really comfortable with it. And second, once you standardize your process, standardize your tech stack, do not deviate from it. Otherwise, it will slow down the whole growth, efficiency, profitability of the firm down the road.
Correct. Yeah. Because then once you get acclimated to everything, you have your things in place, then it's about scaling your business and how do you really grow it. And unless you're comfortable with 16 clients and that's all you want to have, and you're happy, then fine, right? But if you're really trying to scale the business, then you've got to hold to it, or else you'll deviate and it'll slow you down.
No, that's sounds really helpful to be thinking ahead with that kind of time frame. Now, at the other extreme, I know you go to a lot of conferences, and I'm sure you get a lot of people when they find out you work for Bill.com, and they've been using the platform for years. I guess there's probably people that pick your brains from time to time and want to play Stump Pete. I'll ask you the really difficult kind of power user question. Like, what's your favorite tip that you would give to somebody that's been using Bill.com, as 3, 4, 5 years?
Yeah. So again, it's about scaling, right? So a lot of times it's about trying to add clients quickly and scaling up. And this is more of a process type question. And that is having someone dedicated to doing the setup and configuration, and working with those individuals to know the ins and outs of the setup and understanding the workflow. And so when someone comes in and has a particular nuance to their product that they're using on the accounting side, that they're able to get that part set up, because it's a one-time event really, and it's very specialized. And so oftentimes you have multiple people trying to do the selling of the client, the presenting for the client, and then doing the setup, and then the actual work itself, right? And sometimes you're wearing many hats. But if you're really looking to scale up, you need to have someone dedicated to just learning the system and the uniqueness of all it takes to set it up. And then once you have that expert, you need to find that person's backup, right? And get them to that level as well too, because that person wants to go on vacation, or something happens, they decide that they're going to move on and do something else, or you promote them or whatever. That person could get stuck in that role and never leave, right? Or they do leave and then you're stuck. And so I've seen this with the very largest firms rely on one person. That person decides, hey, look, I don't want to do this anymore. And then they're stuck scrambling. And that sets them back. And that's like more of a, not just Bill.com kind of question. It can be, again, with every other application, you got to have an expert on that particular tool and then a backup, so that they can, have some relief as well too. So not very product specific, but the product is very simple to get going. The challenges that I've seen over the years, and now I'm going on almost 10 years, somewhere in there, with Bill.com, and you see the firms that grow, and then someone that was pretty important leaves, and then you see them fall back, and then they bring in someone else and they quickly overwhelm that person. So it's this ebb and flow that could be avoided if they strategically plan out and hire and have these people in place, and then a little separation of duties. So I spent a lot of time working with firms that have kind of beyond like the basics, and then they're really trying to scale up. So those are the types of things that I talk about and work through at firms and conferences and so forth, like that.
It's a combination of the workflow, but it's also just as much a personnel issue of making sure that you have at least one person who's cross-trained now. Bill.com, they have a training certification program too to help with that, right?
Yes. And we do. And that's kind of segue into a follow-up question I was expecting you to ask. So I'll let you ask the question first and then I'll answer it. But yes, there's lots of training resources that we have available. Certifications, one-on-one on particular areas. We have on-demand, and we have live training that we can do as well too, for groups of people, or maybe with the firm and a client. So we have that type of support for firms
to help, basically, like with the knowledge transfer. And
yeah,
cool.
Yeah.
So regardless of whether someone's new to Bill.com or they've been using it for years, what's across the board the biggest mistake that you see people make that when you're onboarding a new firm or talking with them about best practices? What's like the top 1, 2, 3 thing that just always tends to come up?
Yeah. So the first thing is overcomplicating things, right? What do? We help we help businesses pay their bills. We're the back office for firms that, allows them to pay their bills. And the data entry that's on a manual check is no different than the data that you're entering in the system. The data that you're entering into QuickBooks Online, if that's what you're using, is the same as what you're entering in Bill.com. So people tend to overthink it, and they hesitate and don't move forward with getting things implemented, and they're worried about a lot of things. And so that's like the biggest mistake I see, and understandably so. I think that with accounting firms, analogy I use is that their clients are like their children, and all of these different apps are, they want to do a full background check and investigation on that partner before they introduce it to their children, right? So, we're going to be babysitting their kids. And so security concerns and things like that, completely understand, and, do your due diligence. I mean, we certainly have been, we've been vetted out by some of the biggest, firms, and we have an endorsement by the AICPA through CPA.com. So that's safe. But a lot of times it's like overthinking everything, and it's like just get in, enter a bill, and pay it, and that's what we do. And so that's probably the first thing. And then the second thing is like it looks very intuitive, and you some people just want to jump right in and start using it. However, so the second mistake is just going it alone. And if I'm going to offer you some support to sync it up and make sure that you're good to go, and I'm going to help train you on how to do these things on your own, let me help you, right? Let me guide you on that, and take advantage of this, and then do the same for when you're training your backup person, or your the other person I mentioned before, and don't go it alone. So that's the other thing. And then the other thing is more around, I call this, one of the things that leads to a successful partner is engagement and working with your rep, right? Your account representative or whoever's working with you. Like when they call you, I mean, yeah, we're trying to sell you and do things, but we're also, your success is my success. I always say that I'm like an off balance sheet partner for you. It's like every time you add a client, it's a win for you and it's a win for me. And so I'm very interested in making sure that you're successful as well. So I can help. Just let me, right? So
it sounds like it's a combination of keeping it simple, not overthinking it too much, and just getting in and starting, making sure that you're truly open to change and open to help, and letting Bill.com's internal resources be that help.
Right.
Cool.
You got it.
So the final question that I want to make sure that we cover today is how you see the overall business opportunity for the accounting firms you work with. What should they be focusing on now? Where do you think the industry's headed in the next 3 or 5 years? If you were like, most accounting firms don't have a product manager. That's something typically that SaaS companies and tech companies usually have. But if you were the person who's designed with figuring out what the mix of services should look like in a mid-size or large CPA firm, and they bring you in to help them brainstorm with this, what kinds of things are you talking about?
Yeah, so I've been working with firms going back 2001 in technology space, and I've spent a lot of time helping firms kind of get into the cloud or get paperless first, right? That was the first thing, get paperless, and then eventually getting into the cloud. And we've seen all the benefits from that, being able to have firms that work remotely and not have everyone in one office and the overhead associated with that, right? So we've done a really good job of understanding and using technology for our own benefit. But now there's an opportunity to become as the title, a digital transformation specialist for your firm, right? That's much more exciting than being an accountant. And if you look at the top 10 jobs that are going away, like accountants somehow are on the list twice, right? And one of the most exciting, jobs that are being sought after or whatever are digital transformation specialists. So my advice is just drop the other title, become a digital transformation specialist, and do that now. All the things that you've been doing for yourself and your firm and your business, and now do that for your client, right? And it's not just about the financial statements. It's really about transforming their business and getting information to them faster, and being able to do that for anytime, anywhere. So, I don't want to date this interview, but we're at a time right now where we thought that digitally transforming their business was years away, and then COVID-19 shows up, and it's like the wrecking ball that comes in, and it's like, I guess we need to do it now, right? And so many firms have heard, from their clients that are so thankful for getting them, away from the addiction of paper, right? If it's a term that I use, paper is like a boat anchor, to end a business. Like paper is the place where you have to go to get information. And if you eliminate the paper and you get it digitized, then you're not physically attached to anything, right? And so there's a real opportunity to digitally transform businesses and eliminate paper. I think it's still, it's still out there. It's still a challenge, and it's a way to help them, make decisions faster. It's not just about the financial statements anymore. It's about information and decision making, and enabling your clients to do that faster and more efficiently.
That sounds like that at a really high level, if you have to sum it up in one word, it's transformation.
Yeah.
Future, speed, efficiency, cost structure, not being location dependent, agility, flexibility. And so the question is the tools and the tech stack and adopting all of that to make it a reality. So it's not just copywriting on the website or in the brochure, and it's truly something they can deliver on.
Right. You got it.
Cool. So this has been super helpful. Is there anything else about Bill.com that you think would be really useful for viewers, listeners, to readers to know?
These are exciting times. We have lots of resources available, very focused on accountants, and we've got a wonderful resource center for accountants that's part of joining the program. So you can feel like you're not going alone. You're not the first one to go through this. You have many people that have blazed the path in front of you. So come in, talk to one of our specialists, and I'm glad to help you begin to transform your business and then your client's business. So lots of exciting things going on.
Where's the best place you'd recommend someone to go if they want to learn more about signing up for Bill.com as an accounting firm? And where's the best place for someone to connect with you?
Yeah, so I have a website dedicated to accountants. So if you go to Bill.com, it's really easy. You'll see, it's right here. It's on the building, or soon to be building. And so go to Bill.com. There's an accountant section. We have a accountants resource center, which is accountants.bill.com. So you can go there and learn there. And then as far as getting hold of me, I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Twitter, I'm on social media all the time. So easiest way is Pete Potsos CPA is my handle on Twitter. Pete P Potsos at hq.bill.com is my email, but that's you go to Bill.com and you'll be in the right place.
Well, this has been amazing. Super helpful getting your insight on the biggest things that beginners should be thinking about, what power users should be thinking about, how to avoid the inevitable mistakes with overcomplicating and messing up the staffing, and then your overall view of like where the whole industry is headed and being super focused on transformation. So thanks so much, Pete. Really appreciate you taking the time.
You're welcome.
I've been talking with Pete Potsos of Bill.com. Thanks again.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the AI in Accounting podcast. To subscribe and leave a review, check us out at blog.vic.ai or wherever you like to consume podcast episodes, including Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and YouTube.